Nice. From here, I invite you to return to tall kneeling. You might need to adjust looking around your space, but check and see if you have space to step one foot straight out to the side off of your mat. I offer this so that you still have the cushion under your knee on your mat. And let that footprint still stand on an imaginary railroad track with toes pointed forward. Notice the length of the inseam of that extended leg as that hip becomes heavy towards the floor. And this is enough. This is a variation of gate pose. Now I'll turn sideways so you can see a view of another option here. You could also do this along your mat if you choose to turn sideways, thusly. So kneeling on your cushion in the center, should you have one, and stepping that foot out to the side, maybe to the back short edge of your mat. And from here, an option might be to lift your arms to shoulder height and tip your teapot over, reaching one hand for the floor as the other reaches towards the sky. And I like to draw rainbows in the air overhead, just lengthening my waistline, letting the rib cage expand on that top sunny side. Maybe even bending at the elbow, you could cradle your skull in your hand. Take 3 to 5 breaths here. When you're ready to come up, I invite you to imagine a hand on the, hovering above your extended foot, and reach out for that hand like it's going to be that friendly hand of support as you come up to rise, maybe finding a T with both arms. Option to reverse, bringing your previously grounded hand to reach up towards the sun, lengthening on the other side of your body, coming back to tall kneeling as you're ready to switch sides. Once again, stepping the opposite foot straight out. So scooting your railroad track way over, letting your toes still point the same direction as the rest of your body. Option to lift your hands. And I meant to mention before, your props, if you have them around, are always there to support you. Your stack of books or blocks could be there ready for your handprint when you tip your teapot over. So join me as you're ready. Make this yours. Make a T with both arms at shoulder height and then reach for the floor and the sky with both arms. Find your breath. Can you notice that footprint connected with the ground on that opposite end of your mat? You could look up towards your top hand. You could look down towards your bottom hand. You could find a neutral space to look with your face. Again, noticing the length of your inseam of your extended leg, making that whole leg long and strong, activating all those muscles like a tree trunk. And as you're ready, float that lower hand away from the mat or prop and choose to reverse, reaching your top hand for your extended leg and your lower hand for the sky. So top becomes bottom, bottom becomes top, topsy-turvy, flip-flop. And find your way to tall kneeling as you're ready. It might be nice to make some neck circles after asking your head to support itself in both directions. You might move any props out of your way as you prepare to lie down on your back. For bridge pose, as you find bridge pose, take your time, setting yourself up for a moment of rest as you experience the sensation of a flat spine with support of the mat underneath you. You can bend both knees and point them skyward with your footprints, walking a comfortable distance towards your hips. I like to dust the back of my heels with my fingertips. You might notice you can drive your hands into the mat and activate your whole arms, your long, strong arms, and use this activation to help float your hips, maybe curling your tailbone towards your knees as you lift your pelvis away from the mat. 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, your choice. And like setting down a string of pearls, lower your spine to the mat and set your hips down last. Notice the rise and fall of your rib cage with a breath in and a breath out. Let's do that again. Pressing into both footprints. Drive both fists or pinky edges of your hands into the mat and lift your hips and spine away from the floor. Let your shoulders support your weight, not your head. Choose to take 2, 3, 5 breaths here with your hips lifted. Notice the strength and activation of your glute muscles. If your hamstrings have things to say and are a little cranky, it could be nice to lift your toes away from the mat. Yeah. And as you're ready, set that pretty string of pearls down, also known as your spine, lowering your hips to the mat with control. Making space between your feet, you could let your knees rest in center, offering a breath of relief for your low back, or choose to windshield wiper your shins from one side to the other, offering a soft rotation for your low spine. Nice work. When you feel complete, you can find your way to a supine tabletop, so hands and knees, but laying on our back. Your knees might be at somewhat of a 90-degree angle as your fingertips find the fronts of your kneecaps for support. Notice your whole spine glued down flat on the mat. Zip up your core muscles like a jacket, gluing your spine down firmly, and begin to release one knee at a time to march and just tap one heel to the mat. You can choose to do this slowly or quickly. I invite you to find your breath and make the two match in a way that makes sense. As you notice the warmth in your belly, warming up those strong abdominal muscles, keep your focus on your spine and encourage it to stay glued to the mat. If you're hungry for more, you might tap your heels a little farther away, or choose to push your whole footprint out into the space, lengthening your whole leg. Switching sides again at your pace. You could lower that footprint to hover above the mat, adding on still to your effort. This is all a matter of choice. I'm not making you do this. You can back out if it's too much. Or go for more if that's what you're here for. Last option here is to interlace your hands behind your head and bring opposite elbow towards opposite knee as you switch sides. Your feet might go up into the air or low down towards the mat. Keep breathing and rest when you feel done. Maybe take a sigh out loud. Notice the extra relief that may or may not provide. And choose to roll over to one side and press into the mat to return to seated. You might take any organic movements your body is hungry for and decide if you're ready to join me on your feet. Take your time, give yourself support as you make your way to your feet. The ability to get up off of the floor is associated with long life, so give yourself credit for this part of your practice too. I like to come onto one knee and one foot, and then I have something to stand up on, and then rise up on both feet from there. But as I said, make this yours. All right, as you find your way to your mat, you might turn sideways so you have lots of runway to the left and to the right. And make space between both footprints, turning your toes out towards those outer corners of your mat and your heels towards center. From here, choose to reach out and up like a snow angel, taking up space like a shining star in all directions. A deep breath in from toes to nose. And as you exhale, lower your hips, bending your knees in the same direction as your toes are pointing. You might lower your elbows to shoulder height like a cactus or set up goalposts and say hello to goddess pose. All right, from here, a breath in might shine your star out in all directions as you rise to standing. And with a deep breath out, find your grounding as you lower those hips as though in an elevator, keeping knees outward towards the toes. Inhale 3 to 5 times, make this yours. Last time. I'll meet you down low in goddess pose, bringing handprints to the inside of the knees. Make the arms long, giving the hips some support with that outward rotation. Pressing long into one arm, dip the same side shoulder towards center, maybe as you look over the opposite shoulder. It feels like a bit of a dance move. Inhale as you return to center and try the other side. A little thoracic spinal rotation. One more time if you'd like. Sometimes the second time through feels different. Exhale as you ring out. Inhale to unwind. Exhale one more time on the other side. Dipping that shoulder towards center. And unwinding. Press into both feet, lengthening the legs. And heel toe or hop to bring your feet towards each other in center. If you'd like to join me for a sun salutation, we'll do one of those now. And it involves up and down on the mat and creates lots of warmth in the body. So hop off the bus at any time. Notice your feet, maybe rocking forward and back with a deep breath in. Grow tall in mountain pose, turning thumbs outward. Take a clearing breath here, long in and long out. As you're ready, inhale, lift the hands up high overhead. Grow tall as the palms connect and you hinge at your hips and dive forward for a fold. Pause halfway or reach for the floor. With a breath in, I'll meet you in a half lift. Make your spine any longer here, stronger here. Exhale, choose to fold, bending your knees to support your upper body as you plant your hands. Coming down to hands and knees, stay in tabletop and practice cat-cow. Or you can join me for a vinyasa. Stepping the handprints forward, I like to find low plank, or you have the option for a full plank as well. Keeping elbows in close, lower to your belly. Inhale to peel your sternum away from the mat and look past the edge of your mat. Baby cobra. Exhale, lower to the mat, tuck your toes, come up for plank. Low plank or high, your choice. From here, lift your hips up towards the sky, lengthening your heels towards the mat, downward facing dog. Press into both hands and both feet. Nice work. Grow heavy in one foot as you float the other into the sky for three-legged dog. With a breath in, step that foot forward towards or between your hands. Find a lunge. Set your foundation. Step the back foot in a bit, letting your toes toggle out to the side. And as both feet are able to press into the mat, your hands can rise for warrior one. We'll continue moving, sending the hands back to the floor, planting them firmly on both sides or in front of that foot. Pressing into both hands on the back foot, the front foot can lift towards the sky, three-legged dog once again. Like moving through mud, we'll lower that foot to the floor, downward facing dog. Choose to stay here and breathe or take your version of a vinyasa, maybe shifting forward for plank. Choosing to lower the knees for low plank or find tabletop if you'd like to practice cat and cow. For that vinyasa from our plank, we'll keep elbows in close, lowering to the belly. Inhale to peel the sternum away from the mat. Maybe pressing into both hands to lengthen and even skim the knees off the mat for upward facing dog. Lower the knees, option to take child's pose, sending hips towards heels, lengthening the arms. Maybe moving through tabletop, tucking the toes, lift your hips, coming into downward facing dog. From here, we'll meet with the opposite foot lifted for three-legged dog on the other side. Shifting forward with the shoulders, step that foot towards the hands and plant it as though in a lunge. Stepping the back foot in for added stability, the toes can toggle outward towards the long edge of your mat. Pressing into both feet, imagine tearing the mat in half as you lunge into the front knee and peel your hands up off the mat for warrior one. Again, we'll continue moving from here. The hands float down, framing the foot or planting just in front. Maybe stepping back with the back set of toes as they grip the mat and allow the front foot to lift. Find three-legged dog. From here, move through mud to bring your lifted foot to the floor, downward facing dog. Nice work. From here, we'll walk hands and feet to meet. Pausing in a fold, bending the knees if desired. Nodding yes. Shaking no. As you're ready, root to rise, press into both feet to roll up to standing. Take a long breath in and a long sigh out as you pause in mountain pose.